Olivia Martinez opened her eyes to darkness. Her head hurt, and she could taste blood in her mouth. She tried to move her arms, but found them bound by cold metal cuffs. Where was she? The last thing she remembered was the bridge of her ship, the warning alarms, and then a blinding light. She blinked several times as her eyes adjusted to the dim light. She was in a small cell with gray metal walls. A faint humming sound filled the air. This was not a human ship. The design was all wrong, angles where there should be curves, and strange symbols etched into the walls. A sharp clicking sound came from outside. Olivia froze, listening. Heavy footsteps approached, and a section of the wall slid open. 2 tall figures entered. They had scaled skin that shimmered with a greenish tint under the lights. Their yellow eyes fixed on her with cold interest. "The human is awake," one said in a rough voice. The translator chip in Olivia's ear converted their clicking language. "General Cragg will be pleased." Draxons. Olivia's stomach tightened. The reptilian aliens had been at war with Earth for 3 years now. As one of Earth's top fleet commanders, she knew what happened to human prisoners. Few ever returned. "Stand up, human," the second guard ordered, poking her with a shock stick. Olivia stood, keeping her face blank. 10 years as a commander had taught her to hide fear. The guards unlocked her cuffs from the wall, but kept her wrists bound. They pushed her into a long corridor lined with similar cells. Most were empty, but in some, she glimpsed other prisoners, a few humans and species she didn't recognize. They marched her through the massive ship. Olivia took note of everything: the number of guards, the layout, the location of what looked like weapon stations. Her training kicked in automatically. Even as a prisoner, she was still gathering intelligence. The guards brought her to a large room with a window that showed the blackness of space. Stars streaked by. They were traveling at high speed. A larger Draxon stood with his back to her, wearing an ornate uniform with red markings. "The human commander has requested, General," one guard announced. The figure turned. His scales were darker than the others, and a long scar ran down one side of his face. "General Cragg, commander of the Draxon Third Fleet." Olivia had studied reports about him. He was known for his brutality and clever battle tactics. "Commander Olivia Martinez," Cragg said, his mouth forming what might have been a smile. "The famous human who destroyed 3 of my best ships at the Battle of Europa. I expected someone ... bigger." Olivia stood straight, meeting his gaze. "And I expected the famous General Cragg to have a bigger ship. This one seems rather outdated." The guard next to her struck her across the face. Olivia tasted fresh blood, but didn't make a sound. Cragg made a clicking noise that might have been laughter. Brave words from a prisoner. "This ship, the Void Claw, is one of our most advanced vessels. Your human eyes simply cannot appreciate its power." He walked closer, studying her. "You will tell me about Earth's defense systems, the locations of your hidden bases, the deployment patterns of your fleet." "I won't tell you anything," Olivia said. Krag didn't seem bothered. "They all say that at first. But you will talk, Commander. Everyone does, eventually." He turned to the guards. "Take her to Interrogation Room 3. Begin the standard procedures." As they dragged her away, Olivia noticed something strange. The control panel near the door flickered as she passed. It was brief, just a quick dimming of lights, but she was certain she hadn't imagined it. The guards took her down several more corridors and into a small room with a metal chair in the center. They forced her to sit and attached her restraints to the chair. "The interrogators will be here soon," one guard said. "They are very good at making humans talk." Both guards laughed as they left the room. Alone, Olivia tested her restraints. They were tight. There would be no escape that way. She looked around the room, searching for anything that might help. The walls were bare, except for another control panel similar to the one that had flickered earlier. Olivia stared at it, remembering the odd feeling she'd had. As a fleet commander, she had undergone special neural enhancement surgery years ago. It allowed her to connect directly with Earth ships, feeling their systems as extensions of her own body. It was top-secret technology, known only to high-ranking officers. She closed her eyes and tried to focus her mind the way she did with Earth ships. She reached out with her thoughts toward the control panel. Nothing happened. She tried again, concentrating harder, imagining the neural pathways connecting to the ship's systems. The lights dimmed slightly. Olivia opened her eyes in shock. It had responded to her. But how? This was an alien vessel, not human technology. Before she could try again, the door opened. A new Draxon entered, this one wearing a black uniform. He carried a case of tools that Olivia didn't want to think about. "Commander Martinez," he said, his voice softer than the others, but somehow more frightening. "I am Chief Interrogator Vex. We will be spending much time together. How much time depends on how quickly you decide to cooperate." He opened his case and removed a small device that hummed with energy. "This will cause pain, but it will not permanently damage you. We need your mind intact." Olivia tried to hide her fear. She had been trained to resist interrogation, but everyone had their breaking point. She couldn't reveal Earth's defense secrets, no matter what they did to her dot as Vex approached with the device. Olivia desperately reached out with her mind again, this time toward the entire room, not just the panel. The lights went out completely. "What is this?" Vex hissed. "Guards." The emergency lights came on, bathing the room in red. Vex looked around in confusion. Olivia was just as surprised, but she didn't show it. The door slid open, and the guards rushed in. "System malfunction in this sector," one reported. "The chief engineer says to move the prisoner while they check for problems." Vex looked displeased, but put his device away. "Take her back to her cell. We will continue when the systems are stable." As they escorted her back through the corridors, Olivia's mind raced. The ship had responded to her. It shouldn't be possible with alien technology, but she had felt it. A faint connection, like a whisper in her mind, dot in her cell. Olivia sat in the darkness and closed her eyes again. She focused her thoughts, reaching out toward the ship's systems. This time, she wasn't trying to control anything, just to listen, to feel. And there it was, a faint hum at the edge of her consciousness. The ship was aware of her somehow. It felt familiar, almost like the neural link she shared with her own vessel. "How is this possible?" she whispered to herself. The wall panel in her cell flickered once, as if in response. Olivia smiled for the first time since her capture. The Draxon guards thought she was just a prisoner. They had no idea that she might have found a way to turn their own ship against them. She would need time to understand this connection and learn how to use it. But for the first time since waking up in this cell, Olivia felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. For the next 2 weeks, Olivia tested her strange connection with the ship. She was careful to do it only when the guards weren't watching. Each day, the Draxons would take her for questioning, and each day she would reveal nothing. They hadn't used the pain devices on her again. The systems in that room kept having technical problems whenever they tried. Olivia lay on her hard bunk and closed her eyes. She sent her thoughts out to the ship, like she had been trained to do with Earth vessels. The connection was weaker here, but it was real. She asked the ship to dim the lights in the empty cell next to hers. The lights flickered and went dark. She smiled. Her control was getting better. The Draxons allowed prisoners to walk in a large room for exercise once a day. They kept them in small groups to prevent any planning. Today, they put Olivia with 3 other humans. One was an older woman, who looked sick. Another was a young man who kept his head down. The third was a tall man with dark hair and watchful eyes. Olivia walked slowly around the room. The tall man came up beside her. "You're the new commander they brought in, right?" he asked quietly. Olivia studied him before answering. "Yes. Who?" "Are you?" "Ben Shaw, Lieutenant, Mars Defense Force." He kept his voice low. "I've been here for 3 months." "3 months?" Olivia was surprised. "They usually send prisoners to their home planet after a few weeks." Ben nodded. "They're keeping a bunch of us on the ship. Not sure why." He glanced at the guards who were watching from the door. "Something's changed in the last 2 weeks." The guards seemed nervous. Olivia wondered if it had anything to do with her and the ship. "Have you noticed anything strange with the ship systems?" Ben looked at her with new interest. "Like what?" "Like lights going on and off. Temperature changes. Doors opening when they shouldn't." His eyes widened. "Yes, the guards keep talking about system failures." "How did you know?" Olivia wasn't sure if she could trust him yet. Just guessing. "These old ships must have problems." "This isn't an old ship," Ben said. "The Void Claw is one of their newest vessels. But it's strange. They don't seem to understand how it works. I was an engineer before I was captured. Sometimes I hear the Draxan engineers talking. They treat the ship like it's alive." A guard approached them. "No talking," he hissed. His scaled hand pushed Ben away. Olivia watched Ben move to the other side of the room. He knew something about the ship. She needed to talk to him more. That night, Olivia tried something new. Instead of just reaching out to control small systems, she opened her mind fully to the ship, the way she would with her own vessel during deep space operations. A flood of information rushed into her mind. It was overwhelming. Images, data, sensations. The ship was trying to communicate with her all at once. Olivia gasped and almost broke the connection. But she held on, trying to sort through the chaos. Slowly, patterns emerged. She began to understand. The ship was not Draxan technology. They had found it somewhere and were using it without fully understanding it. The ship had its own intelligence, buried deep in its systems. And somehow, it recognized Olivia. Most surprising of all, the ship didn't call itself Void Claw. In its own internal systems, it had another name, Starlight Sentinel. Olivia opened her eyes, breathing hard. This changed everything. The ship wanted to help her. It had been waiting for someone who could truly communicate with it. The next day, Olivia looked for Ben during exercise time. He was there, and he managed to walk near her again. "The ship," she whispered. "It's not what they think it is." Ben glanced at the guards. "What do you mean?" "I can communicate with it," Olivia said. She knew it was a risk to tell him, but she needed an ally. Earth commanders have neural implants to connect with our ships. Somehow, it works with this ship too. Ben stared at her. "That's impossible." "It's true. The ship isn't even Draxan. They found it somewhere. They don't understand what it really is." Before Ben could answer, a guard named VKX approached. "I said no talking," he shouted. He grabbed Ben's arm and pulled him away. Olivia watched helplessly as they took Ben out of the room early. She hoped she hadn't made a mistake by telling him. That night, Olivia heard noises outside her cell. The door slid open, and 2 guards threw someone inside. It was Ben. His face was bruised, and he was holding his side in pain. "What happened?" Olivia asked, helping him sit up. "They think we were planning something," Ben said through gritted teeth. "They decided to put us together so they could watch us both at once." Olivia looked at the camera in the corner of the cell. "Can you really connect with the ship?" Ben whispered. "Yes," she said quietly. "I don't know why, but it responds to me." "The Draxans are taking us to their home planet," Ben told her. I overheard the guards. We'll be there in 3 days. Once we're there, we'll never escape. Olivia nodded. Then we have 3 days to take control of this ship. Ben looked at her like she was crazy. Take control? There are hundreds of Draxons on board. But only one ship, Olivia said, and it's not on their side. For the next day, Olivia told Ben everything she had learned about the ship. He listened carefully, asking questions about the systems and how they worked. As an engineer, he understood things about the physical ship that Olivia didn't. If the ship is helping you, Ben said, why doesn't it just free us? It's not that simple, Olivia explained. The Draxons have locked many systems with their own controls. The ship can't override everything yet, but it's giving me more access every day. On the second day, they made a plan. The Draxons were moving them to a new section of the ship. During the transfer, Olivia would try to take control of the doors and lights. Ben would use the confusion to get them to a maintenance area he knew about. From there, we can reach the secondary control room, Ben said. It's less guarded than the main bridge. Olivia nodded. If I can get to a main control panel, I might be able to establish a stronger connection with the ship. That night, Olivia reached out to the ship again. We need your help, she thought to it. Tomorrow. The lights in their cell dimmed once, then brightened again. The ship had heard her dot as Olivia lay on her bunk, preparing herself for what was to come. She thought about Earth and her crew. She didn't know if any of them had survived the attack. But if she could take control of this ship, maybe she could turn the tide of the war. Maybe she could go home. Ben watched her from across the cell. Do you really think this will work? He asked. Olivia looked at him. It has to, she said. Because if we fail, we die. The ship's lights pulsed softly, as if in agreement. Morning came too quickly. Olivia and Ben were ready when the cell door slid open. 3 Draxon guards stood there, weapons ready. Move, ordered the lead guard. You're being transferred to a higher security section. Olivia and Ben stepped out into the corridor. 4 more prisoners were there too, all humans. They looked tired and scared. Olivia didn't know them, but she gave them a small nod. They would all need to work together. The guards pushed them forward. They walked through narrow hallways, going deeper into the ship. Olivia counted the turns and memorized the path. Ben walked close to her. When we reach the junction ahead, he whispered, that's our chance. Olivia nodded. She closed her eyes for just a second, reaching out to the ship with her mind. Help us, she thought. Now. They turned a corner and came to a large junction, where 4 corridors met. Suddenly, all the lights went out. Complete darkness filled the space. The guards shouted in confusion. What's happening? One yelled, security breach. Olivia shouted in a commanding voice, all guards to Section 7. In the darkness and confusion, the guards couldn't tell who was speaking. 2 of them ran off toward Section 7. The others tried to control the prisoners. Stay where you are. A guard ordered. Ben moved fast. Olivia felt him brush past her in the dark. There was a grunt and the sound of a body falling. One of the remaining guards was down. The emergency lights came on, glowing red. Olivia could see the last guard looking around in panic. The other prisoners stood frozen, not understanding what was happening. Run! Olivia shouted to them. This way. The guard raised his weapon. Without thinking, Olivia reached out to the ship again. The floor panel beneath the guard slid open. He fell through with a scream. The panel closed again. The other prisoners stared at Olivia in shock. How did you do that? A woman asked. No time to explain, Ben said, picking up the fallen guard's weapon. Follow us if you want to live. Olivia led the way down a side corridor that had opened for them. She could feel the ship guiding her. showing her the safest path through her mental connection. The other prisoners followed, still confused, but seeing no better option. "Where are we going?" one of the men asked. "Secondary control room," Ben answered. "If we can get there, Olivia might be able to take control of the whole ship." They moved quickly through the ship. Whenever they approached danger, the ship would close doors or change the lighting to guide them away from it. Alarms were blaring. Throughout the vessel now, the Draxans knew they had escaped. "Security breach in Sector 7. The announcement echoed through the corridors. "All available guards report to Sector 7. Ben smiled. "The ship is sending them away from us." They reached a maintenance tunnel. It was narrow and dark, but it would lead them past the heavily guarded areas. "In here," Ben said, opening the access panel. One by one, they climbed into the tunnel. It was tight, and they had to crawl on hands and knees. The air was hot and stale. "How much farther?" Olivia asked after they had been crawling for what felt like hours. "Almost there," Ben replied. "The secondary control room should be just ahead." They reached another access panel. Ben pushed it open carefully and looked out. "Clear," he whispered. They climbed out into a small room filled with control panels and screens. Unlike the rest of the ship, which had Draxan writing everywhere, these panels had strange symbols that Olivia had never seen before. "This is it," Ben said. "The secondary control room. The Draxans rarely use it because they don't understand most of these systems." Olivia approached the main console. As soon as her hand touched it, all the screens lit up. The symbols began to glow with a soft blue light. "It recognizes you," Ben said in amazement. Olivia placed both hands on the console and closed her eyes. The connection with the ship was stronger here, much stronger than anything she had felt before. Information flowed into her mind. She could see the whole ship now, every deck, every room. She could feel the Draxans moving through the corridors, searching for them. "They're coming," she said, eyes still closed. A lot of them, led by General Cragg himself. The other prisoners looked nervous. "Can you seal the doors?" Ben asked. Olivia nodded. With a thought, all the doors to the control room locked shut. The metal barriers were thick. They would hold for a while. "What now?" one of the other prisoners asked. "We're trapped in here." "No," Olivia said. "We're not trapped. We're in control." She opened her eyes and looked at the screens. "I can see everything. The ship is showing me." On the main screen, they could see General Cragg and a group of guards approaching their position. The general looked furious. "They'll break through eventually," Ben said. "Not if we're not here," Olivia replied. She focused on the ship again. "Starlight Sentinel," she whispered. "Show me another way out." The screens changed to show a small door hidden behind a panel on the far wall. It wasn't on any of the Draxan maps of the ship. "There," she pointed. "A secret passage." Ben found the panel and pushed it aside. Behind it was a narrow corridor that glowed with the same blue light as the control panels. "Where does it lead?" he asked. "To the main control core," Olivia answered. The knowledge coming directly from the ship. The heart of the Starlight Sentinel. The Draxans don't even know it exists. They could hear banging on the doors now. The general and his guards were trying to break in. "We need to go now," Ben urged. Olivia wasn't listening. She was focused on the screens, watching as the ship showed her more of its secrets. "The Draxans didn't build this ship," she said. "They found it abandoned. They've been using it, but they only access about 20% of its true systems. They have no idea what it's capable of." The banging on the doors grew louder. Metal began to bend. "Olivia," Ben shouted. "We have to move." She blinked, coming back to herself. "Yes, you're right." She turned to the other prisoners. "All of you, go with Ben through that passage. You'll be safe there." "What about you?" Ben asked. I need 1 more minute here, she said. There's something I have to do. Ben hesitated and nodded. 1 minute. Then I'm coming back for you. He led the other prisoners through the hidden passage. When they were gone, Olivia turned back to the main console. She placed her hands on it again and closed her eyes. Starlight Sentinel, she said aloud, I need full access. Show me how to. Truly connect with you. The console began to glow brighter. A small section opened, revealing what looked like a neural interface, similar to the ones on Earth ships, but more advanced. Olivia took a deep breath and placed her hand on the interface. World exploded into light. Olivia felt like she was floating. Her body seemed far away. All around her was blue light and streams of information. She was inside the ship's systems, connected in a way she had never experienced before. This was beyond the neural links she had with Earth ships. This was complete integration. Welcome, Inheritor, a voice said in her mind. It wasn't human or Draxon. It was the ship itself, speaking directly to her thoughts. Who am I inheriting from? Olivia asked, her thoughts forming. The words. The Luminarans, the ship answered. The ones who built me. They are gone now, but their ships remain. You share their neural pattern. This is not coincidence. Images flowed through Olivia's mind. An ancient race of beings with technology far beyond human understanding. They had created a fleet of sentient ships designed to respond to specific neural patterns. Ships that could think, learn, and bond with their commanders. The Draxons found me drifting in deep space, the ship continued. They learned to use some of my systems, but they cannot truly communicate with me, not like you can. Why can I connect with you? Olivia asked. Human neural technology is nothing like this. But it is, the ship replied. Your neural implants were reverse engineered from Luminaran technology. Your people must have found Luminaran artifacts in your solar system long ago. Olivia was stunned. Earth's entire space program, their neural interface technology, all of it had been built on alien designs without them even knowing it. Olivia! A voice broke through her thoughts. It seemed distant, but urgent. Olivia, wake up! She felt herself being pulled back to her body. The blue light faded. She opened her eyes to see Ben shaking her shoulder. Her hand was still on the neural interface. They're breaking through, Ben shouted. We have to go now. The doors to the control room were bending inward. Angry Draxon voices could be heard on the other side. Olivia stood up, but she felt different. Her mind was still partly connected to the ship. She could feel its systems, its power. Blue light glowed faintly in her eyes. This way, she said, her voice calm. She led Ben to the hidden passage. They hurried through it just as the doors do. The control room burst open. The passage led them deep into the ship, to areas the Draxons had never seen. They reached a large chamber that glowed with blue energy. In the center was a pulsing crystal structure. The main core, Olivia said, the true heart of the Starlight Sentinel. The other prisoners were there, looking around in wonder. They had never seen technology like this. What is this place? One of them asked. It's the ship's real control center, Olivia explained. The Draxons use their bridge to control the ship's basic functions, but this is where the true power lies. She approached the crystal core. As she got closer, it pulsed faster, responding to her presence. What can we do from here? Ben asked. The Draxons still control the weapons and the engines. Not for long, Olivia replied. She placed her hand on the crystal. The blue glow spread up her arm and to her eyes. Starlight Sentinel, initiate full system override. Authorization. Inheritor. The crystal flashed brightly. Throughout the ship, lights flickered and systems went offline. For a moment, everything was dark and silent. Then, One by one, systems came back online. But now they glowed with blue light, instead of the red the Draxans used. On the bridge, General Cragg watched in confusion as his control panels changed color and the symbols transformed into ones he had never seen before. "What is happening?" he demanded of his engineers. "We don't know, sir," one replied in panic. "The ship is not responding to our commands anymore." In the core chamber, Olivia smiled. She could see what was happening on the bridge through the ship's internal sensors. "We have control now," she told the others. "The ship is ours." "What about the Draxans?" Ben asked. "There are still hundreds of them on board." "They can't hurt us anymore," Olivia said. "The ship won't let them." She demonstrated by thinking of a command. On a screen, they watched as a group of Draxans tried to enter the corridor leading to their position. The floor beneath them became soft, trapping them in place without harming them. "We can contain them all this way," Olivia explained. "No. One has to die." Ben looked impressed. "So what's our next move?" "Head back to Earth." Olivia shook her head. "Not yet. First, I need to understand what we've found here. This ship is more important than we realized." Through her connection, she explored the ship's memory banks. The Starlight Sentinel was over 10,000 years old. It had traveled between galaxies. And it wasn't alone. "There are more ships like this one," she told the others. 27 of them, all captured by the Draxans. All part of their fleet now. "More ships that could respond to human neural patterns?" Ben asked, understanding the implications. "Yes." Olivia nodded. "And I can send a signal to wake them up." One of the other prisoners stepped forward. "I'm Susan Kelly, communications officer from the Europa base. If these ships can be controlled by humans with neural implants, there must be other officers in the Draxan fleet who could connect with them." "Exactly," Olivia said. "We're not just taking one ship. We're starting a rebellion across the entire Draxan fleet." She turned back to the crystal core. "Starlight Sentinel, prepare to broadcast awakening signal to all Luminaran vessels." The crystal pulsed brighter. On a screen, they could see a map of the Draxan fleet with 27 points of light representing the Luminaran ships. "Signal ready," the ship's voice said in Olivia's mind. She took a deep breath. This would change everything. The war, the balance of power, humanity's understanding of their own technology. "Wait," Ben said, placing a hand on her arm. "The Draxans are hailing us." On the screen, General Cragg's face appeared. He looked both angry and afraid. "Human," he said to Olivia, "what have you done to my ship?" "It was never your ship," Olivia replied calmly. "And I'm offering you a choice, General. Stand down your forces and agree to peace talks with Earth, or I wake up every Luminaran ship in your fleet." "Your choice." Cragg's eyes widened. "You're bluffing. You can't control other vessels from here." Olivia smiled. "Would you like me to prove it? I can start with the ship right next to us. The one you call Deathbringer. Its real name is Star Voyager." The General's scaled skin paled. "How do you know that name?" "The ships talk to each other," Olivia said. "They always have. You just couldn't hear them." There was a long silence as Cragg considered his options. Finally, he spoke. "What are your terms?" Olivia looked at Ben and the other prisoners. They had won, but this was just the beginning. "First," she said, "you will release all human prisoners on all Draxan ships. And we talk about peace." As Cragg reluctantly agreed, Olivia felt the ship's approval in her mind. "Well done, Inheritor," the Starlight Sentinel said. "You have taken the first step toward fulfilling your true purpose." "And what is that?" Olivia asked silently. "To reunite the Luminaran fleet. To learn the truth about your people's connection to mine. And to face what comes next." "What comes next?" Olivia wondered. The ship showed her a vision of deep space, and something massive moving toward both human and Draxan territory. A greater threat, the ship answered. One that neither humans nor Draxans can face alone. 2 days later, the Starlight Sentinel changed course. Instead of heading to the Draxan homeworld, it was now traveling toward Earth. General Krag and his officers were confined to their quarters. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not in charge anymore. The ship would not respond to their commands. Olivia stood on the bridge. It looked very different now. The harsh red lighting was gone, replaced by a soft blue glow. A control. Panels displayed Luminaran symbols instead of Draxan text. Ben and Susan worked at nearby stations, learning the ship's systems with Olivia's help. "We'll reach Earth space in 3 days," Ben said, looking at the navigation display. "They'll probably shoot at us when they see a Draxan ship coming," Susan warned. Olivia nodded. "I've thought of that. We'll send a message ahead of us. And I have something that will prove who we are." She closed her eyes and connected with the ship. Through the neural link, she accessed the communication system. The Starlight Sentinel could broadcast on frequencies that the Draxans didn't even know existed. Frequencies that Earth ships would recognize. "Message prepared," she said, opening her eyes. "Earth Defense Command will know it's us." Ben looked at her with concern. "You're spending a lot of time connected to the ship. Is that safe?" Olivia smiled. "It feels natural, like the ship is an extension of myself." "That's what worries me," Ben said quietly. "Don't lose yourself in there." Before Olivia could respond, one of the former prisoners rushed onto the bridge. It was Alan, a young soldier who had been captured during a battle near Mars. "Commander," he said to Olivia, "General Krag is asking to speak with you. He says it's urgent." Olivia exchanged looks with Ben. "Bring him to the bridge." A few minutes later, 2 human guards escorted General Krag onto the bridge. The Draxan general looked uncomfortable in the blue light. His yellow eyes darted around, taking in the changes to his former command center. "You wanted to speak with me?" Olivia asked. Krag stood straight, his pride still intact despite his defeat. "Yes, I have received a transmission from the Draxan High Command. They are concerned about our situation." "You mean they're angry that you lost your ship to a human prisoner?" Ben said with a smile. Krag's scales flushed darker. "They are. Sending ships to intercept us. Many ships. You may have control of this vessel, but you cannot fight the entire Draxan fleet." Olivia wasn't worried. "How many of those ships are Luminaran in origin?" Krag hesitated. 7 in the intercept group. "Then there's no problem," Olivia said calmly. "I'll simply wake those ships up too." "You don't understand," Krag insisted. "The High Command has learned of your ability. They are sending only pure Draxan ships, built with our own technology. Ships you cannot control." This was a problem. Olivia looked at Ben, who nodded gravely. "How many ships, and when will they reach us?" Olivia asked. 12 warships. They will intercept us before we reach Earth space," Krag answered. "I came to offer a solution." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "What kind of solution?" "Let me contact them," Krag said. "I will tell them what you showed me, about the greater threat coming. Our leaders need to know this." Olivia had shared the ships. Vision with Krag. The Starlight Sentinel had shown them both glimpses of a vast darkness moving between the stars, consuming everything in its path. A threat that would reach their part of the galaxy within 5 years. Why would they listen to you? Ben asked suspiciously. "You failed them." Krag turned to him. "Because I am still a general of the Draxan Empire, and because I can prove what I say." The ship showed me readings of the approaching darkness. Readings our scientists can verify. Olivia considered this. The ship had told her that humanity and the Draxans would need to work together to face what was coming. Maybe this was the first step. "Starlight Sentinel," she said aloud. "What do you think?" The ship's voice responded, audible to everyone on the bridge for the first time. "The Draxan General speaks truth. His leaders will listen. This is the best path forward." Crag stared in shock at hearing the ship speak. Even after everything, he hadn't truly believed the vessel was sentient. "Very well," Olivia decided. "You can send your message. But we'll continue our course to Earth." "And the other Luminaran ships?" Crag asked. "Will you wake them?" Olivia nodded. "Yes, they've been asleep too long. It's time for them to remember who they are." Later that day, Olivia stood in the core chamber. The crystal pulsed with energy as she prepared to broadcast the awakening signal. Ben and Susan were with her. "Are you sure about this?" Susan asked. "Once you do this, everything changes." "Everything has already changed," Olivia replied. She placed her hand on the crystal. "Starlight Sentinel, begin transmission." The crystal glowed brighter than ever before. Energy pulsed outward, sending the signal across space to every Luminaran ship in the Draxan fleet. On distant vessels, systems that had been dormant for thousands of years suddenly activated. Draxan crews watched in confusion as their ships transformed around them, ancient symbols appearing on screens, corridors lighting up that had never been seen before. And on each ship, any human prisoners with neural implants felt a sudden connection. A voice calling to them, showing them how to take control. Back on the Starlight Sentinel, Olivia monitored the results through her neural link. One by one, the Luminaran ships responded to the signal. The awakening had begun. "It's working," she told Ben and Susan. "Already 5 ships have human controllers. The others will follow soon." "What happens when we reach Earth?" Ben asked. "Will you stay connected to the ship?" Olivia hadn't thought that far ahead. The ship had become part of her now. She couldn't imagine being separated from it. "I don't know," she admitted. "But I do know we have a lot to tell Earth's leaders. About the Luminarans, about our true history, and about what's coming for all of us." 3 days later, the Starlight Sentinel reached Earth space. As expected, defense ships moved to intercept them. But they had received Lydia's message and approached cautiously rather than attacking. On the bridge, Olivia opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. The face of Admiral Parker appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of disbelief and hope. "Commander Martinez," he said, "we thought you were dead." "Not dead, sir," Olivia replied with a smile. "Just making new friends." She gestured to where General Crag stood nearby. The Draxan had sent his message to his leaders. The response had been cautious, but not dismissive. It was a start. "Admiral," Olivia continued, "I'm bringing home a lot more than just a ship. I'm bringing answers about our past and warnings about our future." "And prisoners?" the Admiral asked, eyeing Crag. "No, sir," Olivia said firmly. "Allies, because we're all going to need each other very soon." As the Starlight Sentinel moved into Earth orbit, Olivia felt the ship's satisfaction in her mind. "Well done, Inheritor," it said silently to her. "This is just the beginning." Olivia looked out at the blue planet below and the stars beyond. Somewhere, out there, the darkness was coming. But now they had a chance to face it together. The guards who had once mocked her as just another prisoner could never have imagined that she would return to Earth, commanding not just one ship, but the beginning of a fleet that might save them all. And it had all started with a voice that only she could hear.